Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. live English news edition. Here are the top stories. President Gili inspected the premises of the CMME affected by the fire. Government declares the state of emergency in Beirut. Hello, welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. The President of the Republic carried out an inspection of the site of the CMME with the Fire Brigade Pavilion. He was accompanied by officials including the Health Minister. The President was briefed on the situation created by the fire by the Minister and the health officials present. President Gele gave instruction to the health officials to return to normal and give priority to the safety of Peltier Hospital and all health structures in the country. According to the CMME officials, the losses due to the fire are estimated at less than 10% of all the medicines that are stored in the three other wings of CMME that remain intact. The fire had ravaged some of the medicines stored in one wing of the CMME, which was totally destroyed by the flames. The rapid intervention of the firefighters made it possible to contain the fire and the risk of explosion of the oxygen plant to the burning structure and the other CMME building. Otherwise, the CMME, furthermore, they confirmed that the supply of medicines to hospital and health structure in the country will not be affected by this fire since CMME has strategy stocks in Balbala and PK12. Last night, fire had put a strain on the functioning of Peltier Hospital due to the huge suffocating. Now the health minister and his delegation made an inspection visit to the medicine warehouse in Balbala Commune. To this end, the ministerial delegation was accompanied by several executives of the health department to observe the availability of medicines and consumables in these various storage structures. It should be noted that the commune of Balbala is home to three large storage areas belonging to CMME, which serve as a reserve warehouse with a large storage capacity. Those in charge of this CMME reference structure have firmly confirmed to members of the government that the supply of medicines to the country hospitals and health structures will not be affected in any way by this fire. Since CMME has sufficient strategic stock of medicines and consumables which are stored in Balbala and PK12. These important reserves of medical projects constitute a sufficient strategic stock to meet the needs of our hospitals. Subsequently, the Health Minister, Mr. Mohamed Warsama, and his delegation visited the pharmacies of major hospitals to assess the availability of sufficient stocks of medicines. The details in this video.
Subsequently, the Minister of Health, Mr. Mohamed Warsamaderi, and his delegations visited the pharmacies of major hospitals to assess the availability of sufficient stocks of medicines. Welcomed by the respective officials of Peltier Hospital and Chico Hospital, the ministerial delegation was informed on the spot that the two major hospitals have sufficient stocks. The Minister of Health, Mr. Mohamed Warsamaderi, has given firm instructions to ensure the rational and continuous supply of medicines to all public hospitals.
Oui, aujourd'hui, on a eu la visite du ministre qui est venu constater l'état du stock.
Today, we had the visit of the ministers who came to see the state of stocks. Fortunately, we had been supplying products since yesterday, and what stock is enough, so the situation is fairly stable.
La visite de nos hôpitaux et de nos stocks avec son Excellence Monsieur le Ministre de la Santé.
The Minister of Health visited our hospitals and our stocks with His Excellency Mr. Speaker, and we have just seen that for the time being, there is enough stock for about a month, that the situation is stable, and that fortunately there has been no loss, no human damage, just material damage. And to remedy this material damage, the farm has already placed orders that will come in within a week to compensate for the losses. Fortunately, we had already supplied the hospitals this week for a period of about 2 weeks, a month for the materials, and we will fill the void of losses as soon as possible with the help of God.
Et on va combler le vide et les pertes le plus tôt possible, Inch'Allah, grâce avec l'aide de Dieu.
The Health Minister, Mr. Mohamed Warsama, spoke on national television about the losses caused by the fire. Let's listen to him.
En l'après-midi du mercredi 5 août 2020,
On the afternoon of Wednesday, August 5, 2020, a fire broke out in the Central Purchasing Center for Medicines and Essential Equipment called CAM of the Ministry of Health. The fire was quickly brought under control by the services of the civil protection and no human casualties were reported. Only one of the 4 warehouses at the central headquarters of the CAM was affected by the fire. The damaged products are mainly medical, consumable, and injectable intended for public health structures. It should be noted that all hospitals' health facility have their own pharmacy with a 3-month safety stock. This fire will have no impact on the dispensing of essential and vital medicines for patients monitored and treated in the health facilities. In addition, CAM has 2 other storage sites for medical products on the outskirts of Djibouti City, the main warehouse located at PK12 and one serving in the community of Balbala. During a tour of the structures this morning, I saw the stocks of products from the various hospital pharmacies, but also those of the other CAM sites. This assessment of the situation on the ground allowed us to better appreciate the available reserves. The Ministry of Health has taken all the necessary steps to renew stocks of damaged products that will be sent by plane between now and next week. An investigation was immediately launched by the relevant authorities to determine the exact circumstances of the fire.
The Djibouti Port authorities draw attention to the compliance of all facilities with the international security regulation enforced with regard to the handling of toxic and dangerous goods. Port officials say that our facilities owe these to their strict and systematic compliance with the standards and codes issued by the International Maritime Organization, which set out the procedure for handling and securing explosive and flammable projects. Above all, our facilities owe their ability to prevent the slightest risk of accident involving toxic products within their precinct to legislation, in particular a presidential decree adopted in July 2007. This decree ratifies for the purpose of rigorous application project and goods, in particular toxic gas, radioactive materials, organic peroxides, flammable liquids defined as highly dangerous by the World International Organization Maritime. It prohibits the storage of these substances on Djibouti's case and free zones and sets out the end-to-end security protocol for the handling, processing, and management of these projects from their arrival in our port to their final destinations. The Prime Minister, His Excellency Mr. Abdulkadir Kamil Mahal, received on Thursday, August 6, 2020, in the Prime Minister's office, His Excellency Yusuf Hussein Al-Qabandi, Kuwait's ambassador to Djibouti. The ambassador came to bid farewell to the President of the Prime Minister, who decorated him on this occasion on behalf of the President of the Republic, with the rank of Officer of the National Medal on 27 June, and also presented His Excellency Yusuf Hussein Al-Qamri, His Excellency the Prime Minister, with a symbolic gift from the State of Kuwait and the Kuwaiti people. The farewell visit was followed by His Excellency Khalid Hussein, Chargé d'Affaires Embassy of the State of Kuwait. The Prime Minister extended warm congratulations to the happy recipient for his active participation in strengthening bilateral cooperation between the two countries during the 4 years in which he continued his mission in Djibouti as an ambassador.
Ismail Omar Gele, and for the Prime Minister and for the government of Djibouti. This is reflecting of the relation between the two countries, Kuwait and Djibouti, and the progress in this relation. I hope that it will be forever, and for the future it will be always together.
Within the framework of Djibouti-Japan cooperation, a signing ceremony for the acquisition of a second ferry, still financed by Japan, took place on 6 August at the Ministry of Equipment and Transport. The ceremony was presided over by the Minister of Equipment and Transport, His Excellency Mr. Musa Ahmed, in the presence of the Japanese ambassador to Japan, His Excellency Mr. Koji Yonetani. Prior to this ceremony, the minister met with the Japanese ambassador to Djibouti, Mr. Koji, where they had the opportunity to discuss the consolidation of cooperation between our two countries, as well as the many project of Ministry of Transport financed by Japan. The ceremony, due to the COVID-19 restriction, was a special event, as it was held in a video conference duplex with Tokyo, where our ambassador in Tokyo took part in this ceremony. This future ship, costing more than $10 million, will be built in the same design as the current ferry. but with a greater capacity in terms of number of passengers in vehicles, and above all will be able to sail in all season, even during the Khamsin period. Thus, the population of the northern region will no longer be subject to the vagary of the sea. At the end of this event, the Director of Maritime Affairs had the honor of signing the contract for the construction of this second ferry with the CEO of the company, Kitaham Sozen Deco. Ambassador Arete took the floor to praise the good relation of privileged cooperation between Djibouti and Japan, which date back 40 years, and welcomed the fact that the project to acquire the second ferry has been completed 10 years after the current one was awarded. Dedicated to the commemoration of the bombing of Hiroshima in Japan, to express our heartfelt sympathy to the Japanese people and government. Solidarity is a common and ever-growing value of our two peoples. The ambassador of Japan to Djibouti, Mr. Koji Nutani, welcomed the consideration of this project and reassured in his intervention his commitment to follow closely the finalization of this project in accordance with the agenda agreed between the Director of Maritime Affairs and JICA. Let's listen to his words.
Would like to express my full satisfaction today to be able to attend the signing ceremony of the contract for the construction of a second ferry that Japan has been able to award for its dedication to the Republic of Djibouti. Indeed, this is a project that has been prepared for several years in close cooperation between the official Japanese teams, and so today is the fulfillment of this long preparation in order to properly design to what is appropriate to the country's condition, especially during the Khamsin period when the current ferry couldn't operate because of the climate situation. The second ferry will therefore be able to ensure the traffic between the capital Djibouti and the northern regions to serve the needs of passenger traffic and for cargo ships.
The Equipment and Transport Minister, in his speech at the ceremony, expressed his gratitude on behalf of his ministry. Let's listen to him.
Nous avons assisté à la cérémonie des signatures.
We attended this signing ceremony organized a video conference between Japan and Djibouti in the presence of Japan's ambassador as well as the director of bilateral at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Despite the COVID, we wanted to carry out this project, and it is of particular importance for the movement of people and goods between the capital and the northern regions. I took this opportunity to thank the government of Japan for funding this project, which was entirely financed by the government of Japan. It is a ferry that will carry about 250 passengers and 36 vehicles, and its ferries will also be able to navigate at all times, even the period of time. That's what makes this ferries special. We thank you once again, the government of Japan. It is a special partner for Djibouti, especially the Ministry of Transport. As you know, the global crisis has blocked many of the projects, but with the willingness of both countries to overcome these obstacles, we will carry out the project.
This morning, the ODEC meeting room hosted a ceremony to hand over a water tank to the Arta region localities. This donation is part of the program to strengthening the support of the local personalities of the Arta region. This event was attended by many personalities, including Minister of Energy, Mr. Yunus Ali Gedi, the General Secretary of the Ministry of Energy, Mr. Mohamed Kilo Ais, Prefect of the region of Arta, Mr. Mohamed Sheikho, the President of the Regional Council, Mr. Ilmi Bouh, and also the deputies of the Arta region. Finally, the ceremony closes with a family photo for the officials of the Ministry of Energy, the Director of the ODEC, the Prefect, and the deputies. Now in Hodan, this Thursday, 6th August, ceremony of inauguration of the Hodan City branch of Salam African Bank. More details with Dini Musa.
Thursday, 6th August, a ceremony of inauguration of the Hodan City branch of Salam African Bank took place. This inauguration ceremony was attended by the chairman of the board of directors of Salam African Bank, Mr. Ali Abdullah, the president of the municipality of Balbala, Adim Muhammad Hamid, and other officials of Salam African Bank. The opening of this branch comes at the right time to address and stop the displacement of the population of the commune of Balbala and exactly the city of Hodan to benefit from banking services. It should be recalled that since its establishment in Djibouti, Salam African Bank, founded on the very basis of Islamic laws, has made a major contribution to the economic development of the country through the investments it has made in real estate and industrial and commercial development. Stressing that this new achievement is indeed in line with the government policy given by the President of the Republic, Head of Government, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, a strategic development orientation aimed at bringing public and banking services closer to our fellow citizens. The chairman of the board of directors recalled in his speech that this seat is the 13th of Salam African Bank is always ready and at every moment in order to serve to their customers from all walks of life and all professions, namely traders or others in their approach to banking.
Still in Hodan police station arrested a gang of counterfeiters who were engaged in the manufacture of counterfeit notes and their uttering during an operation. The counterfeiters used A3 paper and color printers banknotes with an approximate value of 1,500,000 francs Djibouti. This massive arrest is the fruit of the police and the result of an investigation that lasted for months. Moving on to international news, in Beirut, dozens of people are still missing. Dini Musa with the details.
In Beirut, dozens of people are still missing. Relief operations are continuing in several directions. At the port, the search continues for the bodies of a large number of soldiers and firefighters who went missing while trying to put out the fire that broke out just before that double explosion. The destruction at this site is almost total. There are no structures left standing. Even the silos have been seriously damaged. Efforts are also continuing to organize care for the injured in an effort to relieve congestion in the hospitals, which were visually saturated, especially since 4 facilities are out of order. According to the Minister of Health, the installation of 2 field hospitals provided by Qatar should improve the situation. The other major challenge is the management of the homeless, whose number is estimated by the governor of Beirut at 3, released mainly on national solidarity and international assistance. Meanwhile, the Lebanese army, which has been visited with significant powers under the state of emergency, is responsible for overseeing the damage assessment process.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it for this edition of 9 p.m. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful evening.